Alright, so got another video here. This is just to talk about how to untie and basically maintain your Shinai for Kendo practice. Most of this video, my head is going to be out of the shot, so just focus on the Shinai, okay? So apologies for that, but I don't have a film crew. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to obviously make sure that the inherent safety features are in place on the Shinai. You want to make sure that the staves are kept flexible and that any stray splinters, we try to stop them from developing where we can, and we remove them if necessary. If there's any cracks in the take, the bamboo staves, then we retire that part. And in my opinion, usually retire that Shinai unless you're really stuck. So the first thing you need to do to start working on the Shinai is untie these. Every Shinai manufacturer has a different version of how they like to sort of tie the knot, so it comes down to the workman who was actually assembling it in the first place, or it's up to you as to how you prefer to tie your knots. It helps to have, say, something like a Allen key, relatively thin Allen key. Okay. Something like this. Okay, quite a small one. Okay, and that can help you sometimes kind of poke between the leather and the string, the tsuru, to help you unfasten things or make some space so that you can tie things. Once you've undone the knot, you just unwind the tsuru from the Shinai. Now you don't need to disassemble the entire Shinai every time, unless maybe you're rotating the take into different positions. You may need to remove the tsuka. Generally speaking, you don't have to. Yeah, you can obviously extend the life of your Shinai if you do that, but it's the regular maintenance that really gives a Shinai its life. If it's going to have long life, it'll be down to regular maintenance, not irregular maintenance. Okay, so once the tsuru is loose, we can slide the nakayui just over this knot. If the nakayui is very loose, you may need to retighten it. You should be able to just tell if it moves around a little bit more than you'd like. Or it's very gappy in the way it sits, you might decide to retie it. The sakigawa just pulls off the top. Easy peasy. So we can go ahead and set that aside. So we can point out one of the safety features. Okay, so you've got this cap on the top, which basically stops the staves from kind of caving in together like that during practice. If they were to do that and one of these was to break, it's feasible that they could poke their way through the sakigawa, the leather part that holds these together at the top. You know, after frequent use like that, and that would be obviously catastrophic. There's also a metal hinge plate that sits in the base of the tsuka, and again does a very similar sort of job, just keeps the staves neatly aligned so that they don't sort of rub back and forth, and limits the amount of movement so that they don't break. This is obviously the strongest part of the Shinai, so if you get breaks in the Shinai, it likely won't be here. It'll be along the length of the take. And it usually comes from either the Shinai being in bad condition, so it's too dry. Sometimes it's just down to age and it's just, you know, had one too many strikes. But mostly it's just from striking too hard or striking in the incorrect zone. Okay. So what you would usually do is you get yourself some sandpaper. See if I've got any here. These Shinai have already been sanded quite a while ago, because during COVID-19 we had plenty of time to work on them. Now, I may not actually have some sandpaper here to actually show you this, but normally what you would do is you would just look along the edges and just have a look and see if you can see any loose bits or splinters poking up off this, and just sand them down along with the grain until they blend nicely back in with the rest of the take. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you've got particularly big ones, you may need to kind of plane them off. Just take a lot of care because you can stab yourself in the finger when you do this. As I said, these staves have been pretty well looked after. Just got some bits of fluff from the last time I oiled them on, so they don't really need to be sanded. The other thing is, don't sand too deep. You know, you're not looking to create sort of this perfect furniture finish or something like that. Just until you know that, you know, if you were to just lightly rub your finger over it, that the splint, it isn't going to pull up a splinter. It's essentially just, you know, you're back to it being one piece of continuous wood. That's enough. So don't go down in a sort of deep pocket, okay? Because you'll take away from the shaping of the take, and that's where a lot of the durability comes from, is the fact that these edges between the take, they should, you know, marry up pretty cleanly. So yeah, so we're trying to avoid putting big dimples in them and things like that by over sanding them. Okay, so that's, I mean, that's as far as you need to take it apart, really, just to do the kind of regular maintenance. So once you've done your sanding, then all you do is get some oil. There's a couple different ones that I would use. If you go to a music shop website, a company I used to work for called Anderton's Music Company. There's a local Belfast company called Matchets. You could go to them. They stock this sort of thing. Okay, Gin Dunlop lemon oil. Okay, this is quite good. It's pretty cheap. It's usually used on guitar necks on the fingerboards. So I keep that around the house because I have guitars. But you could also just as easily use olive oil. Do not use linseed oil. It leaves quite a thick, waxy, sort of gummy finish on the Shinai, and that tends to rub off on people's doors when you strike it. So all you want to do is dab a bit of oil on. And you can be pretty liberal with this because we're going to coat pretty much every single wooden surface that's exposed. I almost lost my oil there. Okay, so all you do, open it up. Yeah, just get your fingers in between. And you can flex these quite a lot. You know, you don't need to be shy. They're supposed to be very flexible. So, and just liberally coat the inside of the take all the way up to the top. Okay, and then rinse and repeat for every single stave. You'll notice I top up the oil for every single stave, and that's because I really do want to be quite liberal with it. Okay. By the time we finish up here, the Shinai will have soaked up most of this oil. Also, it's a good idea to try to do this, I would say, a minimum of a week in advance of using the Shinai. If you can, I would leave even longer. Okay, so no, like I said, this Shinai hasn't been done in quite a while because of COVID. It's been maintained earlier in the lockdown, but it hasn't been since the beginning of lockdown. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give it a second coat. Because it's been sitting in this hot summer heat in a bag and only really been used for saburi, and that's been outdoors, and I've had them out in the rain and all kinds of things. So, right, that's probably enough oil. The cloth is pretty well saturated now, so That'll be the last time I need to do that. Okay. So what I like to do then is grab a little plastic doohickey and pop that back in the top. So when I handle it, the staves don't move around anymore. And then wipe the outer edges. Okay, and this is where you want to take care, because if you're gonna pull up a splinter and it's gonna go through the cloth, this is the point at which it's likely to happen. Okay. Okay, as you can see, every time I do that, just rubbing along with the grain. Okay. Okay. Now, some people like to leave the Shinai kind of like this and let it dry before they put it on, under tension by tying the tsuru back up. I don't really do that, to be honest. Not unless there's sort of big gaps developing here near the dobari section. But if that happens, really the Shinai is probably done. Although you can tie a string quite tightly around the door body in a couple of them to squeeze the shape back in. It can help if you're in a pickle, but generally I don't advise it. It usually means your Shinai's seen better days. So we'll just go ahead and we will refit the Nakayui and the Sakigawa. Put the Nakayui on, the Sakigawa on, and you want to just align the knot at the top with this. Okay. Okay, pull the Nakayui over the knot, in the first third. Okay, and at this point it's a good time to check how far away this is from the Kensen. It should be from here to the Kensen, should be 1/3. Okay, so this one's sitting a bit far back, I think. So usually it's about 5 centimeters maybe behind this knot, give or take. Some Shinai there's a little knot tied in there. I do have a knot tied in there actually, but it seems to be able to move along it. There's a little knot tied in there to stop the Nakayui going past a certain point, so your strike zone can't become larger, thereby making it easier for you to score ippon. But there's quite a lot of Shinai manufacturers that don't put the knot in. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to loop the tsuru through here. Okay. And we're going to loop left to right because see this little leather guy here? It needs to come down through there, loop through, and then come through here in a loop. Okay, so we're going to go left to right. Okay, so that's them through. Okay, there. Then we're going to go through right to left on that component there. Pull it down. Okay, now here's where you need to kind of put tension on. And we're getting close to the point where we need our little Allen key friend tool. Okay, so you can rest the Shinai in your hips or something like that. So get a good bit of tension on it. You don't have to pull very hard, it just, you'll know, it'll feel taut, and it will, if you hold that down here, it'll sort of make a bit of a note. Okay, then you're going to get your thumb on this little leather guy to keep it in place so that you can relax this hand. So what I like to do is come under the left hand one, this leather component here from the Tsukagawa, under the right hand one. Okay, so that you effectively have the tsudu coming straight down the middle. Okay, and it's going to come under this guy here. Okay, but from behind. Okay, so you see that? Like so. Okay. All the while, still got the tension on the thumb here. Then you come out right, so go underneath from the right hand side, and you're going to go underneath that middle bit of tsudu you just made all the way across to the left hand side. So what you end up with is that. Okay, pull the center, so this should move your thumb when you do it. Pull that down nice and taut. Okay, make sure you definitely got it taut. Pull everything down nice and straight. Okay, now you're going to pull this loop you've created on the outer side down the center through that to make it basically a knot. Okay. And give it a good wiggle and make sure you get all the slack out of it. Right, pin that with your thumb. And you can swap hands. So now I don't need that there anymore. Okay, I was pinning that there with my thumb, and then I changed to this finger, kept the tension there. Yeah, because I had tension on this. Okay, from here all we need to do is wrap around the underside of these. Okay, once you have 4 wraps on, it should be secure. Most people have more than 4 wraps, and that's fine. So what we want to do is just wrap it up so that it's nice and neat and tidy. So this is where your Allen key doodle comes in handy. So you slide it down the back of the tsudu, and then just prop that leather bit up a little bit. That way I can keep my thumb here, keep the tension on. So we loop it around once, and keep tension. Okay, remember the first 4 loops you need to keep tension. So keep pinning that. You know, the bit where you pull the tsudu across here, obviously you're bringing tension over with it, so you can lift your thumb just for a split second to do that. Okay, so almost there. Excuse my dogs. They have no idea who the people outside are. So stranger danger. Okay. So now I've got my 4 loops, so I can essentially relax a bit here. But I'm going to obviously wrap up a few more loops just to get rid of the dingly dangly thing here. That extra bit of tsudu. Okay. Okay, so wrap that up probably another 3 times. So maybe got 7 loops on there, something like that. So now I'm left with something that's maybe 2 inches long. Okay, so now we need to get that down to something neat and tidy. So what I like to do then is take the Allen key and put that through now the center of these hoops, these leather hoops. Okay, so we're going to run the tsudu in through the center. Okay. And it's going to come out the bottom of the other side. Okay, so it's going diagonally through. Okay, so through the middle of one side, but through the bottom of the other side. Because remember, these are split into 2, left and right. Okay. Then, once that's through, give it a wee shimmy down with your Allen key. Okay. Then, bring the Allen key up. This time you're going to put it through the middle of both. Okay. And you're going to bring this last piece of tsudu through there until it comes out the other side. Okay. So the very last loop that you made, leave a little bit poking out here. Okay, so this is the one that we just brought through left to right. This is the one that we went halfway with. Okay, we're going to take this end and we're going to trap it through there. Okay. Okay. So now, all you do is just pull the tension, the slack out. Okay, this is the fiddly bit. Everything else is actually really easy. So. Okay, so you can pull the tension from the lower loop out by working the upper loop with your Allen key. Okay, just be careful not to pull the very end out. And then just pull the end nice and tight. And that's it, locked in place. It's not going to go anywhere. It's nicely trapped. Okay, so then the very last thing we want to do is just trim that down so it's nice and neat. And for that, a box standard set of cutters will do the job. Okay, so just come in there, and you can leave about 1 centimeter, it's fine. Okay. And so now you can see that is what you're left with. Okay, nice and neat and tidy. And that's the Shinai assembled. Leave that for a week and it'll soak up all the oil, soak it up nice and evenly, and that's it, ready to go. Okay. You don't even have to wipe it down anymore. So obviously I worked quite a lot with it while it had oil on it, so I'm just going to give it a little lick of whatever oil's left back on, on the cloth. I'm just going to pop that on there and stick it in my kit bag. My next practice is about a week from now, so that should be enough time for this Shinai to feel happy again. Okay, the last tip is don't get any oil on the leather components, the Tsukagawa, Makiyui, Sakigawa. Tends to just, their eyes stretch too much and they'll move around on you in a way that you really don't want. It can make them uncomfortable to hold, less grip, if you get lots of oil on here. It has to deal with enough as it is. And that's about it really. Try not to get them wet, don't leave them near radiators. But that's it, that's basic Shinai maintenance. Okay. Hope that's helpful to anyone who's watching. If you're in Northern Ireland, come visit Ojiko and I. Got a nice little dojo in Belfast. Anyone's welcome, just drop us a line on Facebook or hit us up on our website and let us know that you're coming. Alright, particularly with COVID-19, don't just rock up. Okay, give us a shout. Right, take it easy. See ya, bye.